and do the second part of our walk. We're gonna go all the way to the end of Charoen Krung Road. It's a long way. Let's go. All right, let's get into it. Cool little Chinese temple back there, and that's the ghost tower up there. A building that's been abandoned since the economic crisis in Thailand of the late 1990s. So people call it the ghost tower. And if you look around on YouTube, you'll find there are a few daredevil type videos of people doing silly things, jumping around on the top of it. Risking their lives, probably all in the hopes of getting female attention, but did it work? Who knows? Maybe not, right? But maybe. Surely there are better ways. Never mind. Right. So if you want to see those kind of risky videos of people jumping around on the top of that building, you can search around YouTube. You'll find something. Here's a pretty weird one. It's a temple with something that looks like a boat inside there. That's actually a fairly old temple. So most foreigners don't actually make it down here, which is a real shame, because this part of Charoen Krung Road is really quite lovely and scenic. Actually, there are a lot of nice old buildings along this stretch. If you go into the little streets on the left side of us, where we're heading now, the neighborhood goes very far back in there, way back. And but the little streets that are near this one, near Charoen Krung Road, basically, yeah, there are some kind of interesting places to explore back in there. Not so much as far as old buildings go, but there's a bit of a sprinkling, I can say. But most of the old buildings are out here on Charoen Krung Road. But just that there are some very local style Thai neighborhoods, especially if you follow the little canals back there. If you get right back in the back, there's even a kind of a swamp area once you get further back in there. And basically, if you go back in behind, just to our left here, not too far back in there, there's actually a really cool Chinese graveyard that the locals use as a place to stroll in the evenings as well for a bit of exercise. It's definitely quite interesting. A few massage shops along here, because you do get the odd tourist wandering down here, especially because of the Asiatique shopping center, which is probably about 20 minutes walk down here, or maybe 15 minutes walk, something like that, on the right side, which has become quite a popular place since it opened, which was about, I think, or at least 12 years ago, maybe 11 or 12 years ago. So it's actually quite a livable neighborhood. This would be one of the off-the-radar choices to live a bit deeper back in here if you wanted to be in a real Thai-style neighborhood. The only problem is transport, but it's not as big as a problem as you might think. You have to go old school with these buses, like the #1 bus that just went past us, which is actually one of the handiest buses in Bangkok, and number 15 there, just going the opposite direction. That's also one of the handiest buses in Bangkok. Both of those buses head along pretty much following the Chao Phraya River and head through the Old Town area, which is pretty nice, really. If you found an apartment that suits you somewhere around here. And there are tons of cafes as well, some very nice ones, I might add. And a lot of nice street food. Once you get further in, the prices come down a bit. The closer you are to Saphan Thaksin, the more you're kind of in a tourist kind of vibe. But as you get deeper back in here, yeah, I think it gets a bit more interesting actually. So then it comes down to, are there good places to live around here? Well, actually, if you're in the money, there are some very nice places that are next to the river, just up here on the right. And I'm talking about quite expensive places. So, yeah, these could be a good option for some people. But another lovely little Chinese-style shrine there, by the way. Yeah, but if you're on a budget, if you're trying to live like a local, like a backpacker, or yeah, if you want to do it like that, then finding a local style apartment along here that's a decent one, that's not too noisy, without too much air pollution, is quite challenging. And believe me, I've checked it quite carefully. So you'd have to compromise a little bit. If you go most of the way down there, you might find something on the right side that is kind of okay. So you notice, yeah, there was a second little Chinese shrine back there, and it just shows you the Chinese roots of the area run really deep. So if you tuned in for the Charoen Krung Part 1 video, we started just across the road pretty much from the Grand Palace, and behind, kind of near Wat Po, behind the Grand Palace. And we walked through Chinatown and Talat Noi and the old European quarter to Saphan Thaksin Bridge. And so now we're continuing. As I said in that video, this road was called New Road, and excellent Buddha, by the way. Yeah, so it goes right through the middle of Chinatown. And so basically what happened was that this road influenced the spread of Chinese or Chinese Thai people to start buying up plots of land as this road stretched out parallel to the Chao Phraya River. And basically each generation started building places a little bit further out than the next one until they got all the way down to the end up here. And so you see the Chinese influence stretching all the way along. And like I said earlier, there's a Chinese graveyard back there behind the small streets on the left, which has quite a lot of fairly old tombs. So if you're in the money, like I said, there are some pretty upmarket places that you can choose from along here. with river frontage, river view, and it's free to have a look. Yeah, actually I've known a few people that have lived in a few of those places, so I've checked them all out along the way. Most of the ones that are a bit nicer. Just by luck. And the place that I just showed you back on the right there, the nice looking condo, they also have temporary art exhibitions. And basically there's always an art exhibition going on there. Usually they last for a few months before they change them for another one. So that's free. You can go in there anytime and have a look and check out the lobby, the common areas of course as well. So lots of little klongs around here, little canals. As you can see, some pretty old buildings along here. It's quite scenic. Obviously it's got tons of character. Yanoa is the wider area through this way, and this road is a major one for cutting right across, right on through. Another upmarket spot back in there. Yeah, so there's a mosque there on the left as well. You tend to find, if you follow the waterways in this area, in this region around here, basically follow the river, or especially follow the canals, and then you quite often see mosques. The Muslim communities that spread into this area, a lot of them came from other places, and a lot of them came in by boat, and they were doing trading and so on, so it was quite convenient for them to utilize the waterways. Little Indian restaurant over there, still some massage places. A lot of classic old style in here. The little bit of stuff mixed in there for visitors. Now, of course, this neighborhood is changing, and it's going to continue to change as we see those expensive condos going up next to the river. Most of them are built on places that used to be old warehouses, because on the right side behind the buildings you find the river. So basically on the right side it used to be all warehouses and places for ships to dock up and unload stuff, which makes sense, obviously. In the old days, that's how it was. That's what the river was used for, unloading ships and boats that were doing trading locally or internationally. Okay, so some of those places have been bought and demolished, and these new condos have been put up, and I would definitely expect that to be a continuing trend over the next couple decades. So I would say this area is going to become a very desirable area. Could even be a candidate for an MRT line or BTS line in the future, or subway line. If you have a look on the map, the Chao Phraya River describes a great kind of arc around this kind of neighborhood. And at the moment, the neighborhood contained in that big bow of the river is only served by buses and some songtaos as well, a few motorbike taxis and so on, things like that, taxis and everything. So it's kind of a prime candidate for, I would say, a subway line in the future. A lot of people live in this area. Yeah, if you want a real magical mystery tour, you follow those little pathways that you often see next to those little dirty little canals, and you can quite often see some pretty weird stuff. And other times you might not see anything really that interesting, but yeah. If I remember correctly, we should be coming up on another temple here on the right. And I do believe this is the place where, or a place where they train people in the art of massage, Thai traditional massage. So there are a lot of students, and there are some little massage places where you can pay for a massage as well along the lane there. And I would say probably they're about the cheapest ones in Bangkok, if not all of Thailand, that you might find these days. Last time I checked, which was probably about a year ago, or just over a year ago, you could get a massage in there for 100 baht. From a learner. Okay, sure. So if you want to be experimented on there for 100 baht, yeah, it could be worth the risk. But as I say, it's up to you. I would think it's probably okay as long as you're kind of aware of what your body can tolerate and yeah, so on. And if you try to communicate a bit. we're coming up on Asiatique. This was an old warehouse, one of the many along the river. Quite an old place. It's been renovated and turned into a very popular shopping center with a Ferris wheel. So a lot of foreigners like to come along here, and it has its own boat service that can take you from the BTS station, Saphan Thaksin, back where we started part 2 of this walking tour. Back in World War II, this place was bombed by the Allies, as it was a warehouse area. And Thailand's involvement in World War II is not particularly well publicized, you could say. But there are remnants. And here's a great example over here, this World War II air raid bunker. So, Thailand doesn't really like to publicize their involvement in World War II that much because basically, another mosque back there, by the way, a nice one. Basically, they were quite friendly towards the Japanese in that time. And of course, there were people in this country who didn't want to side with the Japanese, but it worked out with the government of the time that they did actually do that for a few years, right up until near the end of the war, when it was pretty obvious which way the wind was blowing and that Japan was pretty much finished. Yeah. And lucky for Thailand, they were able to convince the Allies that the government of the time did not represent the people and that the resistance inside the country was significant enough that the Allies should go easy on Thailand after the war. Churchill didn't want to do that, but the Americans decided it would be a smart idea to kind of let Thailand off the hook and not punish Thailand, and try to get a closer relationship with this country, because they realized that the communist countries were trying to spread the communist ideology through the region, and it was thought that if they could keep the Thais on side, they might be able to use Thailand to block the spread of communism, which I guess maybe it worked, who knows, right? But okay, it's hard to say, right? Thailand didn't become communist, so maybe that kind of worked out somehow, or maybe things went the way they would have gone anyway. Who can say? So most foreigners would say that's enough, and once they've checked out Asiatique, and of course most of them would have come with the shuttle boat from the BTS station if they know about that, or they would have taken a taxi down here, maybe a tuk-tuk if they're feeling a bit adventurous, and then they would say, okay, we've done this area, and they would take off, and that would be the end of that. But as you can see, it's still old style. Further on down, still has a nice vibe. Let's keep going. And here we are at the Chao Phraya River, the big bend in the river here. And these days, as far as I know, there are no ferry boats that come to stop at this pier, unfortunately. Alright, so we made it, guys. That was a long and hot walk. Thanks for coming along. See you in the next one. Please click subscribe and like and hit that bell button so you get an update on the next videos coming along. And if you want to support the channel, you could always click the buy me a coffee link. It would be greatly appreciated. Ciao.